Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for attending our webinar tonight for the Food Science Bachelor Program. My name is Sarah Kells, and I am the admissions representative for K-State Online. I work with most of our undergraduate programs. Tonight, I'm joined with a few of our administrative leadership from the Food Science Institute. We have Dr. Jeanette Thurston, Director of the Food Science Institute, Dr. Karen Schmidt, the undergraduate program chair, Dr. Abby Nooch, one of the teaching associate professors, and also Dr. Deanna Retzlaff. So tonight we're probably going to spend about 30 to 45 minutes of for the presentation part, and then 10 to 15 minutes towards the end for questions. So right now at this time, I would like everybody to locate the chat feature in this Zoom meeting. That way you are able to ask questions throughout the presentation. If there's certain questions that we need to wait until the end to ask the presenters, we will do so, but we will try to answer most of your questions through the chat function. Also, right now, as you locate that chat feature, please tell us where you're from. We really like to know, where you're, where some of our students are located, if that be here in Kansas or anywhere else across the United States. So as those are coming in, I do want to mention we are recording this webinar for you, and also some of the students that were not able to attend tonight. That will be available and emailed to everyone within about 7 business days from tonight. Oh, wow, we got lots of different places: Kentucky, Chicago, Texas, from LA, Honduras, Florida. Wow, all kinds of different places. Awesome. South Korea. This is great. Thank you so much. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and stop. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our presenters, and I'll have them take it away. And again, any questions that you might have during the presentation, please let me know.
Great, and hopefully everyone can hear me okay. Maybe Sarah, if that's not the case, let me know. I'm going to assume that everybody can hear me. Excellent, thank you. So hello everybody. Again, my name is Dr. Abby Nooch, and I'm one of the faculty members in the Food Science program. I'm going to be sharing my screen here to show some slides. So yes. As Sarah mentioned, I'm joined here by several of my colleagues from the Food Science program. And so we're all really excited to have you joining us this evening. We're going to be sharing a little bit of information about the Food Science program, some of the key aspects about it. But our primary goal, one of the things we really want to make sure that we do is get your questions answered. So as Sarah mentioned, do feel free to put questions that you have in the chat box, and we'll address those as we go along and or at the end. So again, she kind of gave an overview, but just to give you a little more detail on what we'll be talking about here this evening for the Food Science program in particular is, first of all, what makes food science a great choice, kind of why you might want to consider that as a degree option, what kind of courses you would be taking, what the curriculum is like, what sort of career opportunities are there, that kind of thing. And then as it says here at the bottom, importantly, how you can contact us. We're certainly happy to visit with you even after this webinar if you have other questions that we didn't get to this evening. So again, kind of the first question is, well, why might you be interested in a degree in food science? When you think about career paths, obviously some key questions come to mind. Does a degree path fit with your interest areas and what you're passionate about? That's probably first and foremost a key question. But other questions, like I mentioned, what are the career fields like? What are the earning potential like? Money isn't everything, but we do kind of have to have it to live. So it's important to know what kind of careers and earning potential there is, what the curriculum is like, what sort of classes you'd be taking, what the work environment would be like, are there helpful advisors, that kind of thing. And so we're going to dive into a lot of that here this evening. So first of all, just to get started, let's start with a basic question. What is food science? So sometimes when we're visiting with prospective students for our program, sometimes they might not be all that familiar with just the discipline or field of food science. I know sometimes when I'm visiting, especially with high school students, they sometimes perceive it as maybe being food service related, that kind of thing. So it's a very broad field. And so I think it's helpful if we start out just by talking a little bit about what it is. One of the ways that I like to describe it is just as the combination really of those two words. So food, when we think about food, everybody kind of has a mental picture. In fact, we probably, had some a few minutes ago, or at least earlier today. So food is something we can all kind of wrap our brains around. And then the science component, when I say the word science, probably there are particular types of maybe classes that come to mind. You probably maybe think of things like chemistry or biology or microbiology or physics and engineering, those types of things. And that's precisely a good way to think about what food science is. It's the combination, it's applying all of those principles from those science-oriented fields to food. So to the production of food, making new products, improving food processing techniques, making sure that foods are safe and nutritious and of high quality and that type of thing. So I think that's a good way to at least think about the foundations of what food science is all about. So that kind of then leads us to what do food scientists do? What exactly does that look like? What types of things are food scientists actively doing? And this is just a very brief listing of some examples of the types of things that food scientists get to work on. So as it says here, they get to monitor food quality and safety, really important aspects. Developing new food products. I think that's one that kind of a lot of people can envision, coming up with the newest, latest, greatest flavors of a particular product or a new type of product, those kinds of things. Also complying with laws and regulations. There's a lot of laws and regulations that go into the food industry and food production. A lot of things that we have to ensure that we're following in terms of standards and that kind of thing. As it says here, operating and enhancing production and processing systems, and then innovating as well. And again, this is just a very short tip of the iceberg list of some of the types of things that food scientists are involved in. So one thing I kind of like to make sure that we point out is that food science is not just food service. It's not just the cooking and pots and pans parts of it. It is a very highly scientific discipline. It is focused on a wide array of kind of when you think about the distribution process. So production, manufacturing, distribution, marketing, all the way through consumption of those food products. It is a great fit for students with lots of different interest areas. I really feel like that's one of the great things about food science is no matter what your passion or interest area really is, there's probably a fit for you in food science. So, if you're very creative, we need lots of creative people. If you're very analytical, kind of like an analytical approach, we need people with an analytical approach as well. So it's a great option for lots of diverse interests and backgrounds. There are excellent job opportunities in the field, really excellent careers with a wide range of companies. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit later in the slides. And again, as it says here, the global food system needs more food scientists, and maybe that could be you. I do have a video that I'm going to play. Hopefully it works okay for us here. This video is actually produced by a trade association, so a food technology trade association, and it kind of highlights some of both the challenges and opportunities that are facing food scientists today. So let's give this a whirl and hopefully it works.
great challenge that food scientists and the world faces today is hunger, distribution, waste.
And feeding billions of people. Those are the bigger challenges. Not only feeding, but feeding them the right food, nutritious and healthy food.
I think that trying to meet consumer demands for clean label decks and provide them with the shelf life and the price that they've come to expect is going to be a real challenge. Now, it's an opportunity, but it's also a real challenge.
Our biggest challenges are sustainability, looking at managing food waste, and then also feeding people who are food insecure.
Of paramount importance is the development of young scientists.
We are in a world of depleting resources. We need to find new food sources, new applications for food ingredients.
A great challenge that the food industry has today is keeping a clean ingredient line or changing ingredient lines, but yet still maintaining the quality and the food safety that is necessary for great product.
We are the people that take what's coming out of production agriculture, try and maintain the quality of that as much as possible, minimize waste, put those into products that meet nutritional, health, enjoyment needs of the consumer.
I need to remind people that food processing is what's going to keep our human lives survivable.
We, the food scientists, can assure that the food we produce is safe for everyone in a growing planet.
I see bright minds, I see people with ideas, I see people who are ready to work.
So I really feel, I wanted to show you that video because I really feel like it does probably a better job, far better job than I could of kind of explaining the realm of areas that food scientists are involved in. And so again, it's really helping to feed the world. And I think this video, it probably covered several of these points already, so I won't spend too much more time on this. But so why is food science important? Just as they outlined, we are facing lots of challenges, right? So feeding a growing world population in a way that is sustainable and meeting consumer needs and maintaining food safety. Again, addressing those evolving consumer demands for things that are not only healthy, nutritious, affordable, tasty, but also safe and of the quality that we want them to be. And so again, the safety issue is a big deal as well. So safety, both safety and security, are aspects that food scientists get to be involved in. And again, I won't go into detail on this slide too much, but I think hopefully that video helped to convey as well that there really are opportunities across a wide spectrum of areas. So the supply chain, is broad, diverse, complex, and food scientists get to be involved in a whole wide range of aspects. And there are opportunities not only domestically, but worldwide as well. So, kind of to recap some of the things that maybe would pique your interest about a food science and industry degree. It is an exciting and dynamic field. Actually, when this trade organization surveys their members, they do a salary survey every couple of years, and not only salary, but they ask people, what is it that you like about your job? What sort of things do you enjoy? And almost without fail, lots of the feedback that they get from people in the industry is that one of the things that they really enjoy is the intellectual stimulation. It's kind of new and exciting challenges are always coming up, and so it's kind of never the same thing twice. So there's lots of diversity and change happening. We do have a nationally approved curriculum, and we have both online and on-campus programs. And of course, we'll be focusing tonight primarily on the online program options, although I'll be occasionally mentioning some aspects of our campus-based program as we go along as well. Our campus-based program, one of our options is a great fit also for people who are interested in maybe a pre-health option. So some of those students who might be thinking of, say, a pre-med degree or maybe optometry, dentistry, veterinary degrees, that kind of thing. Our on-campus program definitely meets the needs for them in terms of matching some of those curriculum requirements for those pre-health type emphasis areas. We do. I feel like we have excellent teaching and excellent student advising. That's one of the things that K-State is really known for and that we really take pride in, and that is being a really student-centered university. So we really have an emphasis on excellence in teaching and excellence in advising, in addition to great research and classroom facilities as well. This program would have relatively small class sizes and also relatively low student to faculty ratios in terms of interacting with faculty. Although I'll be focusing primarily on the food science bachelor's degree in this presentation, there are opportunities to combine that with some other things, perhaps like minors that students might be interested in. For example, maybe a business minor or those types of things. So there's opportunities to combine that with other interests. And then again, some opportunities for scholarships and industry internships, which I'll touch on here in just a minute as well. So kind of, getting to a bit more of the details about the program, what would you be what would it look like for you to pursue a degree at K-State in food science? Let's dive into that just a little bit. So within food science, within our bachelor's degree program, we actually have 3 curriculum options. 2 of those are available online. And so all 3 of them are listed here. We have our science option, our business and operations management option, or what for shorthand I usually just refer to as the business option. And then we have the technology option. So the business option and the technology option are the 2 that are available for students to pursue online. The science option is the one that's available on campus only. And so, there's a lot of similarities between these 3 degree options, but as you might guess, the business one, based on its name, does emphasize the business aspects a little bit more, whereas the technology one would emphasize kind of more of those core food science classes, prepare students, as it says here, for careers in quality assurance, research, product development, those types of things. There are some recommended prerequisites that it's very helpful if students bring into the online program, and those are listed here. So it's helpful if a student has completed about, give or take, about 30 credit hours with a minimum 2.0 cumulative GPA. And within those 30 credit hours, there are a particular slate of courses that it is helpful to have completed, and those are listed here. It includes some of the expository writing classes, public speaking, which is essentially a speech class, a calculus course, a biology class, general microbiology class, as well as some basic chemistry classes. So those are some recommended prerequisites that it's helpful if students bring into the program in the online program. So as I mentioned, the 3 options do have a lot of similarities. They all 3 require completion of 120 total credit hours. So it's 120 hours for all 3 options. The business option and the technology option, as you can see there, they're in addition to those prerequisite courses and some things like humanities classes and some other electives, both the business option and the technology option include about, give or take, here as it says, 27 to 30 hours of what we would call our core food science classes. The business option also includes a block of 18 credits that are specifically dedicated to business classes. Both of the options, business and technology, also include a particular spot in the curriculum for what we call processing and professional electives. And so I'll talk a little bit more about what some of those would be in just a minute. But as you can see from the diagram here, the types of classes that you would be taking above and beyond those prerequisites that I mentioned would include things like additional courses in, say, statistics or nutrition. Obviously, microbiology is listed there, sensory analysis, some animal or grain science classes, those types of things. We do have a minor in food science that is a 15 credit hour minor. The one thing to know about that is that the minor would be appropriate for students who are majoring in something other than food science. So a minor is excellent to combine with something that's slightly different than the major. So for example, a minor might be of interest to a student pursuing an animal science degree, for example. This diagram gives just a little bit more detail about what some of those core food science classes would include. So it would include things like, we have a course called Introduction to Food Science, which as the name implies, it introduces kind of the field of food science. I typically think of it as being the inch deep, mile wide perspective on what food science encompasses. So then there would obviously be classes, food chemistry, food microbiology, some food processing courses, food analysis classes, quality assurance, nutrition, product development, those types of classes. And then in the bottom right block, it says commodities, and that would refer to the processing electives. And those would address things like, say, grain processing or bakery science classes or meat processing, those types of things. So in addition to just the coursework, there are additional opportunities that students can take advantage of. Some of these are maybe dependent on a particular, for online students, are dependent on a particular situation. We do encourage, in particular, our campus-based students to pursue internships. And internships are also very valuable for online students as well. Depending on your particular situation, they may or may not be quite as feasible, but there are certainly opportunities to explore internship openings through our Career Center and some other resources. We do also, and again, COVID has certainly added an element of complexity for all of us these days, but especially pre-COVID, our program did offer opportunities on occasion for study abroad or study tours. And again, it may depend on your particular situation, but on occasion, we've had online students that have been able to participate in one of the study tours. And then their undergrad research is listed here. Again, that's predominantly for the campus-based students, not as feasible for the online program. But the classes that you would be taking, your instructors are the same instructors who would be involved in the research aspects within food science. So again, that's kind of a lot of information coming at you. We'd be happy to visit with you more towards the end of the presentation about, in particular, which degree option might be right for you, that kind of thing. So we'll certainly save time for questions. Just a few quick things about program deadlines, and I think Sarah will be revisiting this here towards the end of the presentation as well. But so typically, you can kind of think of it as during an academic year, there would essentially be three distinct semesters. So a summer semester, which is actually a shorter period of time. It's about an 8-week period during the months of June and July, typically. The fall semester, which generally begins in mid to late August and concludes prior to the holiday break, so mid-December generally. And then the spring semester, which classes for the spring semester would typically begin in mid to late January and conclude in mid-May. And of course, that would be, for example, the semester that we're in right now. So those application deadlines in general for each of those are listed here. So May 1 for summer, August 1 for fall, and January 1 for spring. And again, I think Sarah will be revisiting that again in a bit. Financial aid deadlines, what I would refer you to for the financial aid deadline questions would be K-State's Office of Student Financial Assistance. They would be the best resource for you in terms of any questions that you might have related to financial aid, including what deadlines would be applicable. And their website is listed here, as well as the phone number at the bottom and email address at the bottom. So I mentioned that we would kind of touch on career opportunities as well. That is one thing that's really great about the field of food science is there is strong demand for graduates. And that's not true just of K-State, but of food science programs nationwide. There's strong demand for graduates, for people trained in the field of food science. So we do see excellent placement rates for our graduates, as well as competitive starting salaries. So again, median starting salary listed here. This would be reflective of data from the past about 3 academic years, but that median starting salary in about the mid 50,000 range. And then I mentioned earlier that salary survey that the trade group does, the industry trade association does, and that number that's listed here. So the industry median in terms of total compensation for a bachelor's degree, that's not a starting salary. That would be for people working in the field who do have a bachelor's degree. With their data shows that that was about in that $80,000 range. And just to give you a couple of examples, these are just some examples of students who have graduated from our program in the past. So Mariel, she is shown there, she works for Mars. And so the product that she's holding there in her hand would be an ice cream bar. Paul Lewis here in the middle would be an example of a student who was pursuing one of those pre-health type emphasis areas. And then Nick here on the far right is an operations specialist for Land O'Lakes. And so just to kind of give you some examples of some students from the program. On our website, you would have access to this map, which essentially shows placements of different students that have graduated from our program. And so the link is shown here at the bottom. If you wanted to explore that map in a little bit more detail, you'd be welcome to do that. But again, lots of, as I mentioned, opportunities domestically and then also worldwide as well. This video, hopefully it pauses for just a second. There we go. So I wanted to show one more quick video. It's about 2 minutes long. And this video is highlighting a graduate from the online program. So this person's name is Gary Van Breda, and he graduated from the online program a couple of years ago. So I thought it might be of interest to you to hear directly from someone who graduated from the online program. So hopefully this will play without any trouble.
The world is changing and people are moving around all the time. I certainly could not have finished up a degree going to class every day. Even in the state of Illinois, I couldn't have done that because I travel, and that's just part of my job. And I think that many people are in the same boat. My job today is one that takes me to all 5 continents, and I've accessed the system on every continent. Without that type of access and without the type of flexibility that K-State's distance learning provided, I would not have been able to reach this point today. I think the unique thing about the learning that I got in the last 4 years was that I could really apply everything that I learned. So the learning wasn't just academic in nature, it wasn't theoretical in nature, certainly, but it was something I could apply to my work environment every day. Life happens. I actually moved cities right in the middle of my 4-year story at K-State, and my academic portion left for about 2 semesters. But then I was able to get back on track again, and yeah, today I'm here. I certainly learned that you have to motivate yourself. Very early on, I had a full plan for taking me from 0 to the end of the degree. It's a long-term plan. It's not something that you can accomplish within a year. And the way I certainly was able to motivate myself was simply by looking at or by celebrating the short-term successes. So every semester I would scratch out what I'd done, put up a little sticker to say, yeah, I made it through the semester, and these small little victories actually added up, and I think now I have a sense of accomplishment because of that. Without it, I couldn't have done what I did today.
There we go. One time through the video would be sufficient. So, again, we'll leave plenty of time here at the end for questions. Any questions that you might have about what it might look like for you to be involved in the food science program here at K-State. We do, as I mentioned, we'd be happy to visit with you. If we aren't able to answer all your questions here this evening, we'd be happy to visit with you at a later time. That could be obviously in person, might not be feasible depending on where you're located, but certainly via phone or email, or I think everyone these days has a black belt in Zoom technology. So Zoom technology would be an option for that as well, but we'd be happy to visit with you further. Just to kind of point you to a few resources that you're welcome to browse through if you have more questions. Obviously our website here, so the Food Science Institute website That's where, as I mentioned, you can locate that map that indicates where a lot of our graduates have landed. It also has some additional details about the curriculum. So if you wanted to know more about the specific curriculum requirements for any of those options that we discussed, those are available here on the website. And then lastly, some contact information, which I think, again, Sarah might be reiterating this again at the end, but you can reach us, again, probably the easiest way to reach out to us would be through the website, but there are some direct phone numbers and email addresses listed here for some of the key contact people for questions related to the program as well. And with that, I think that hopefully leaves us plenty of time for questions, Sarah. So at this time, I might stop sharing my screen just so that we can all see a bit more of the video aspects. So yeah, with that, Sarah, I'm going to turn it back over to you if you have any additional wrap-up comments, and then we can field questions for sure.
All right. Let me share this. Oh, come on. Thank you so much, Dr. Mnuch. So I just wanted to touch base on a couple of things. And then, yeah, I do have a couple of questions that that we would like to address towards the end here. First of all, if you are ready to get started and apply to the food science program, you can go to our website there, online.kstate.edu, and click how to apply. There are going to give you some different options, whether you're an incoming freshman, if you're a transfer student, international, military, there's different instructions, but also some helpful tips on the application process. If you do have any questions, though, definitely reach out to me. So my position as admissions representative is to help you through the admissions process. Make sure that we get everything we need for your application. If you need to apply for any scholarships, anything like that, if you need to get in touch with someone at the Student Financial Assistance Office, I'm happy to get you in touch with someone there. And then once you're admitted, then I pass the torch onto our food science team here with us tonight, and they help you enroll and work with you one-on-one at with you at your time at K-State. Yes, a couple of dates that Dr. Mnuch had mentioned is some application deadlines. The first one is May 1st. That is for the summer semester. And one thing about these application dates I do want to reiterate is that is when we would need all components of your application. So we would need the application fee, and also official transcripts from any previous schools. They would need to be received by us by that deadline. And it is the same for that fall deadline, August 1st. Classes, as you can see there, start on Monday, August 23rd. We do have we are recording this again, as I mentioned before, and this will be available in about 7 business days, depending on how fast our marketing team gets this up to YouTube. Another webinar that we are hosting here in a couple weeks on April 1st. No, it is not an April Fool's joke. We will be attending same time as tonight. And it's a great webinar for transfer students. So whether you attended a community college, another university many years ago, or just recently, anyone who's a transfer student can attend this to learn more about the transfer process, some of the services that K-State Online helps you with. It's a great webinar that we partner with some of our leadership team at the admissions office. Lastly, before we kind of get to questions, just as a thank you for attending, we are actually offering application fee waivers for our K-State Online applicants to the food science program for the summer and fall semesters of 2021. So if you are interested in receiving an application fee waiver and applying for one of those semesters, definitely get in touch with me at the online@ksu.edu address there. And I'd be happy to work with you to get that application fee waived. And yeah, I'd be just happy to help you through that application process. We do have a couple of questions. Jeanette was really nice to answer a little bit more about this one, but we did have someone ask if you see undergraduate students go on to get a master's as well. Do you think that's necessary, or is it more of a personal choice? Can anybody talk a little more about that?
Yeah, and I want to make sure and loop in the rest of our outstanding team here on food from the food science program. So I'm just one of the representatives here, but we're so fortunate to have Dr. Thurston, who's our institute director, and Dr. Karen Schmidt, who's the chair of our undergrad program, and also Dr. Deanna Retzlaff, who serves as the advisor for the students in the online program. And so I'll be happy to answer some of these questions, but more than likely they will also have even better answers than I will. So I'll invite them to please chime in at any point in responding to these as well. And so Sarah, repeat that question again. It was about the from a bachelor's program to a master's program.
Yeah, do you see that a lot with undergraduate students? It seems that there's still some jobs out there for students with just an undergrad degree, but do you see students that go on to get their master's as well?
I'll maybe take a quick stab at that. And then again, please feel free, other team members, to chime in as well. So yes, we do have an online master's program as well. And I know we have had a few students who have completed both a bachelor's degree and a master's degree. That does happen on occasion. I would say there are excellent jobs. A master's degree is certainly not required to have an excellent career in the food industry. So, it wouldn't be necessary, but it does. We do have that instance on occasion. And Dr. Retzlaff, I don't know if you have any more to add there in terms of, I'm not sure what proportion of our students might complete both the bachelor's and the master's. I know it has happened on occasion, but certainly not required to have a master's degree to have a great career.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Nooch. We have had several students who go on to get their master's, but oftentimes they get a master's degree in a different area. For example, one of our previous students works for Hormel in the product development area, and he was actually involved with the creation of Skippy peanut butter bites. And he got his BS degree online with us, and then he later went on to get a master's degree in innovation. So he's thinking more now about technical and business aspects and how to create new products and where those niches might be. So oftentimes people can find other master's degree programs as well that often complement what they're doing in the industry. They could do the Masters of Agribusiness program, or they could do the food science program. And actually Gary Van Breda, who you did see there in the last video, he did get his master's program with us, and he is currently working on a PhD in person in Chicago. And he serves as the, at McDonald's, as the corporate global food safety person for their produce issues. So everybody finds their own niche. It might be in a position that's more at the bachelor's level, while others find that they might wanna, they enjoy traveling, or they like the business aspects. So once you get experience, I think in the food science industry, that gives you a better idea if you want to go on. Are there additional aspects of the industry and the education that you want to learn about?
Awesome, thank you. We did have someone ask, actually a couple people ask about the food safety and quality undergraduate certificate that we also offer online, just a little more information on that. And also, do you see students that pursue the certificate and the food science bachelor's at the same time or separately?
is Karen Schmidt. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Go ahead, Karen.
Dr. Retzloff, would you like to answer that, or do you want me to answer that?
Go ahead.
Well, typically when we talk about getting degrees, we think of them as I tell my students, is like usually it's like a certificate, but if you have a minor will, quote, trump a certificate. And then obviously a major in that field would trump that minor. And so typically when you are pursuing, like, say, the certificate in food safety and quality that we have, typically you might be majoring in something else, or you just want to take that collection of classes and that's it. And so it's just trying to help students like understand that education speak, if you let me say that, to kind of, as they progress through there. But we have had people, and Dr. Retzloff is very experienced with this, who once they get into the certificate, then would look forward and actually try to move then into one of our bachelor degree completion programs then. So there is that ability to do that, but typically that that trumping of going for the major is probably more useful in the long run, so to speak, if you want to do that food science career. Dr. Retz, oh, sorry. Other things to share?
Nope. Dr. Retzlaff, did you want to add anything, or?
No, sorry, I'm just typing a response.
Oh, thank you. Let me, Dr. Thurston was able to answer a couple of these. Another question is, what is the admission rate that you see for this program, and is it competitive to get accepted?
So I'll answer that one. If you've completed all of the required prerequisites that Dr. Nooch mentioned in her presentation with at least a 2.0 GPA, then you would be accepted into the program.
And Dr. Retzlaff did put that into the chat function. It looks like I really appreciate the presenters answering these, definitely. Let's see, let me see. We have a couple more here. This student actually already works in the field as a product developer and has a strong culinary background and is looking to pursue a degree to learn more about the technical side and to check that big box of having a food science degree for future opportunities. Is there a degree option that you would recommend over the other, business versus technology?
I'm sorry to keep relying on you, Dr. Retzloff, but Phil, maybe you probably have the best insight as to how that would come together for a student.
Yeah, so the technology option, if you're in the product development area, would be the better option of the two. The business option would focus more on managing the business within the food industry than things such as product development.
Another question we have is if you could tell the difference between a bakery science program and a food science program, and just kind of and why they are in different schools. It seems to be more broad, and but the baking science is included in the food science program. Is there some overlap between those?
This is Karen Schmidt. Yeah, there is some overlap in the baking science and food science curriculum, and there are some students, at least on campus, that are pursuing dual degrees. So they're getting to get a bachelor's degree in food science, as well as a bachelor's degree in grain science. Usually it's baking science is going to be their option. I don't know if we've had anyone that's done it yet online. I'm looking at Dr. Retzloff's picture. I've not encountered that yet, and as being the tier in the food science degree, but we do have some of our food science students online who, in those processing electives that Dr. Nooch described, and some of our professional electives, we'll choose some grain science classes that are available online, like cereal science is one that comes to mind.
Yeah, so the baking science degree is not offered in an online program. That would only be an on-campus program.
Thank you. Another question we had about the food safety and quality undergraduate certificate, prerequisites for that certificate. If I remember correctly, I believe there's 3. I believe a biology, microbiology, and a chemistry course. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And those are very similar to, I mean, again, those are 3 courses that are also required for the food science program as well. I'm going through the list here just to make sure we got to all the questions. Any other questions from the students?
I believe I saw a question about nutrition. So the nutrition major is not within our college, but I believe there's I think there's a nutrition and health global campus degree, as well as a minor in nutrition online. So hopefully Sarah maybe can give you some additional information about that. But yes, you could get a minor in food science and major in health and nutrition, or vice versa, major in food science and get a minor in nutrition in the online program.
Yes, that's correct. And I believe both of those are 100% online, and they're offered through, I believe, Arts and Science, the College of Arts and Sciences. I'll have to double check on that.
It's the College of Health and Human Services.
Health and there you go. Okay, it is with the yeah. A lot of people that are interested in that are usually interested also in food science, but also dietetics, and that's something that we do have another admissions representative that works a lot with the nutrition program. And so if you would email the online@ksu.edu, they would definitely be able to help answer any questions about the nutrition bachelor's or the minor that we offer completely online through K-State Online. Oh, and Dr. Retzlaff did put in here, that's a really great point, is that the prerequisites must be college courses from an accredited institution. That's something that I always like to mention to students also, because they do wonder, you know, will my credits transfer? It is more likely if it's from an accredited institution.
I saw in the chat, oh, sorry. This is Karen. I saw in the chat.
No, go ahead.
Asked about the on our online classes, and typically our online classes, they're somewhat they don't have scheduled times and days of the week that she would quote meet. Though there are some professors in classes that may have you meet on a regular schedule, like maybe once a month or something like that. But most of our classes, being distance, will be somewhat self-paced by the student to a certain extent, but we usually always have some deadlines. Like my class is organized that they have a homework that's due at the end of every 3 weeks and then a quiz. And so different faculty will design that differently, but it's not like you have to be sitting, quote, at your Zoom station Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8:30 to 9:20 Central Time.
Any other questions that we can answer for you, for anyone? All right. Well, I would love to thank Dr. Nooch for presenting, and then also all of our other leadership with the food science program and department for helping out and answering questions, and just, being here tonight and share. I know by the end of this, we're like, okay, I want my pajamas. So I just want to thank them all for sacrificing their night and being here, and all of the everyone, all the potential students who gave up their night to be here and to learn more about our program. And I hope we answered some of your questions. And if you have any more, again, email me at online@ksu.edu, and I'd be happy to answer any questions. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great night.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you. I'm gonna stop.